What is up, YouTube? It is BetcherGame75 here today. I'm back again with Sakura Alien 3 Part 2. Alright, in case you guys are wondering what's been going on with these uploads, this work that I have is a full-time job, and I really do not want to be working full-time in the first place. And yes, this is why you guys see like a big delay in videos and live streams, because you guys are not really going to see them that often. So soon I might be like trying to get another job to change my schedule and all that, so we could be getting all this stuff back every day. But anyways, back to this video. We are back again. The ingredients Revi listed in this space sundae of hers might have given me a pause, but the sundae itself tastes like any ordinary sundae that might be served in a made cafe. My pulse doesn't spike, my skin doesn't turn clammy, and I'm not the best by intense abdominal pains. I feel perfectly fine after swallowing the last mouthful of Revi's sundae. Better than fine, in fact. I thank Revi for the sundae, who beams and says, "No problem." She takes the fluted glass away, now empty to wash it up, as she heads back over to the ship's control panel to check the coordinates she set the ship on. While Revi works, I turn my attention once more to the vast expanse of my space visible through the ship's windows. I stare at the stars as we pass them by, the closer than I've ever seen them, and at its bits of space debris that drifted by, caught in the gravitational pull of the nearest planet. I've seen photographs of space, of course, taken by various probes, but I've never seen it so up close and personal before, and it's truly breathtaking sight. I can't believe that Anna spent the majority of this trip with her head bowed, flicking through a manga. But then again, Anna's an alien. She must be accustomed to these sights. Does she find space familiar, uninteresting even? I can hardly imagine it. I doubt I would have ever get sick of these sights. Even if I was to spend decades, centuries, even drifting among the stars, there's always something new to look at. I'm greeted with new sights whichever way I directed my gaze. It's incredible, but it's also overwhelming. Worried, I bring one hand to my mouth and yawn. I can feel the beginnings of the tears beating my eyes. All of a sudden, my head feels very heavy. The longer I look out the window, the more disorientated I become. I stare and I stare and I stare until... Darling, are you alright? Oh yes, I'll just zoning out a little is all. Space travel is kind of intense. It's really taking it out of me. I can imagine it. It might, yes. If you're not accustomed to it, I know you're doing nothing more strenuous than sitting, but even that can be a challenge when one is surrounded by so much, well, space. It's pretty overwhelming, yeah. Doesn't it get to you, too? Not in particular, no. Corvo boasts very advanced technology. I knew much about space since I was a small child, and sometimes my parents would take me on excursions to other planets so they could attend talks with other royals. I'm used to spending time on ships like this, though Revi's is a fair bit smaller than those my parents used to. I see. I guess you're an old hand at this then. I'm unsure what that means exactly, but if you wish to say that I have experience, then you would be quite right. And the galaxy is as familiar to me as the back of my hand. At least, the Ankh galaxy is where I hail from. Anna smiled bashfully. Myra, where Hiyori dwells, is part of the same galaxy as Corvo. Our planets are not so far away. We are like neighbors. I know less about other further flung galaxies, however, I was quite ignorant of your Milky Way, despite indulging in so much earthly entertainment. There are so many galaxies out there, it is impossible for anybody to know of them all, even a prince such as myself. I would advise you not to trouble yourself over such details. It'd be nice if you could do that, yeah, but you're forgetting something. I'm a physics student. Space has been my biggest internet in life ever since I was a kid. Now I've got an opportunity to actually gaze out at the stars. It seemed a shame to waste it. Men and women much more able to talent that I would jump at such an opportunity. I want to observe everything. That is a noble goal, but it is impractical. I am afraid. I know your fondness for space, but space itself has no fondness for you. It is nothing but a void, but dark and impenetrable. If you gaze in it too long, it will only drain you. Right. I guess that makes sense. I'll try to keep your warning in mind. Thanks, Anna, for looking out for me. It's no problem. As your companion, I'll do all in my power to aid you, and Hiyori too. I do not like to think of her and Myra all alone with nobody to speak to. The thought perturbs me. Space might be lonely, but Hiyori is probably lonely too, being trapped on an unfamiliar planet in an unfamiliar palace. I hope she is not suffering as I was. I guess Anna must be speaking of her time as Corvo Princess. She doesn't talk of her past all of that often, so I'm intrigued just as much as, if not more so than I was by the stars beyond the windows of Revi's ship. Did you say suffer a lot in Corvo, Anna? Suffer might be a bit melodramatic, I suppose. I was not in physical pain, of course, when I acted as a princess, and I know nobody wished to hurt me. My parents were kind of, despite being strict, and my retainers were polite enough. I was quite fortunate in many regards to be born into a wealthy family. I never had to worry about food or about shelter or money. I was privileged enough to be able to pursue my hobbies, and I had free time enough to read earthly manga and earthly books. But I was lonely too, living in that palace. I was only permitted to leave it if only one of my retainers went with me, and they kept such a close eye upon me, I was unable to do anything. In many respects, I felt like a pet in a cage. It was so stifling. I could not be myself. If I spoke out of turn, my mother would chastise me, and you know what I'm like. I love talking. I felt like I had to constantly temper who I was. I was not allowed to be myself. I had instead to be a princess. It was all very exhausting. If it was not for Revi's company, I might have collapsed under the strain of it all. Talked to her, helped, but it could only do so much. In the end, I knew I had to escape for my own peace of mind. I never could have been happy living in the palace, not with so many expectations weighed on me. I want to live as an ordinary girl. No, an ordinary earthling. I want to walk the streets of Tokyo and go shopping and eat lots of delicious food, and I want to fall in love too. I want to have fun. And how have you found your time on Earth? I hope your expectations haven't been betrayed. Oh no, not at all. I have many enjoyable experiences upon your planet, darling, and I want to experience many more. I'm very glad I met you, and Hiyori too. I want the three of us to have fun together. Me too. It's not the same without Hiyori, is it? No, it is not. She's a key part of our group. Without her, it feels so empty? Yes, that is right. It feels so empty as I do. When I press my hand onto my chest just here, Anna holds her palm of her left hand to her chest above her breast. It hurts. I'm in pain, though whether it is for my sake or Hiyori's, I cannot say. Perhaps I am hurting for the both of us? Do you think Hiyori is suffering? I believe so, yes. I know what Hiyori looks like when she is happy, and then the smiles she showed us last night did not seem sincere. They were similar to the smiles I made when I lived in the palace because of my mother bade it. I believe she has come to regret her decision. She wished to return to Earth, but it feels too proud to admit it. I hope I am not mistaken, but if I am not, I feel I must help her as her friend. I am worried about her. Me too, but it'll be alright, and we're on our way to see Hiyori right now. With some luck, we should arrive in Myra within a few hours. Then we can tell her how we feel. I'm sure if we both appeal to her, she'll see reason. I do hope so. Thank you, darling. I don't know if I could do this without you. You really do give me strength. Let us do our best. For that to happen, however, Anna leans in and pokes my cheek with one finger. You need your beauty rest. Do you think? Yes, I can tell that you are tired, though you have been trying to hide it. I know you well, darling, and you can't fool me. You are in dire need of sleep, are you not? I do feel pretty tired, yeah. Then you should look after yourself. I cannot fuss over Hiyori at the present, for she is not here, but I can, and I will fuss over you. You need a nap, but before that, you should probably have a bath. That should help clear your mind of any anxious thoughts. I concur. Now hurry up, darling. Make yourself presentationable. I will wait for you in the bedroom while you wash away your accumulated dirt. There I will console you, and with some luck, you should soon be able to succumb to a deep, dreamless slumber. I do not mean to alarm you, but think you will need every last wink of sleep you can get. Once we arrive on Myra, you might not have the chance to relax for quite some time. Really? I leave the whole of Revi's ship at Enna's behest and search the hallways for the bathroom. Fortunately, Revi's ship is on the smaller side. Not that I have been inside any other spaceship to compare it to, and I'm able to locate the bathing facilities without any great difficulty. Once there, I strip off my clothes and glance about it. It's a square boxy room which has a sunken Japanese-style tub. Various liquid substances are contained in bottles arranged upon the shelves, which I assume are shampoos and conditioners. I can't read the text on the bottles, which are written in strange pictographic font, a little like hieroglyphics. Is this one of the languages used on Corporal? But I doubt they contain anything dangerous. Why would they? This is a bathroom after all, not a chemical processing plant. I doubt Revi used that tub over there to dissolve bodies, though I suppose it's always a possibility. I reach out for one of the bottles, meaning to examine its contents before first applying it to my body when... So I see you found the bathroom then. I'm glad you didn't get lost, though. I feel sorry I could have escorted you here myself. As your hostess looking after you should be my #1 priority. I need to ensure that all your needs are being met. I jump alarmed at the cadence of this familiar voice. It's with a red face that I turn my head and spot Revi standing in the entrance of the bathroom, smiling mischievously. She's unlike me, didn't think to dispense with her clothes before stepping into the bathroom. She's still wearing her skin-tight maid uniform, with its navy stockings and silvery collar. I suppose that's a good thing. I don't know if I've known Revi long enough to see her naked, but it's a bit embarrassing. I feel distinctly underdressed beneath Revi's salacious gaze. Now, Haru, why do you look so perturbed? I don't bite. Revi's gaze flickers over to the bathtub, and I don't use that to dissolve corpse either, if you're curious. Now, that was suspiciously specific denial if I ever heard one. How do you know I was thinking that? Please, it was written all over your face. You're very easy to read, Haru. I can tell that you're still not quite comfortable around me. You think I'm suspicious, don't you? I don't know if I go quite that far. Anna trusts you, which is good enough for me. I think she has a fairly sound head on her shoulders, despite her naivety. I'm prepared to trust her judgment. You've been friends for a long time after all, but Revi sidles up to me, her smiles widening. I still make you uneasy despite all that. Isn't that right? Well, I swallow. You are being awfully forward right now. I didn't think when I came in here to clean myself off, I'd have company. I glanced back at Revi, my face flushed. Why are you here anyway? Didn't I just say I came here out of my goodness of my heart, Haru, because I want to help you? That's what a good host is supposed to do. I know that's what you said, but as you can see, I'm fine. I was able to make my way here without getting lost, and well, I pout. I'm a grown man. I don't need anybody's help getting back. If that's what you're trying to get at, I'm more than capable of managing this alone. So it's a solo mission, I see. I'd like to respect that, Haru, but you can't read Corbin, can you? Well, no, but then it'd be hard for you to know which of these bottles is safe for humans' use. And I think you best leave that up to me. Unless you'd like to run the risk of melting half of your skin off. There aren't any dangerous chemicals like that in those bottles, are there? Who's to say? You certainly wouldn't know what's with your paltry grasp upon my language. There's no way for you to gauge how safe anything in this room is, not unless you're daring enough for a trial by fire. So what will it be? Do you want to take your chances all alone, or will you let me help you? As your hostess, it would give me great pleasure if I could wash your back for you, and your hair too. I love making myself useful. You say you want to make yourself useful, but I think you prefer being a nuisance. I scowl, my arms folded. My face is still flushed from my own nakedness, and a hungry look Revi continues to assail me with does nothing to assuage my concerns. While I don't distrust Revi, I still don't trust her enough to let her run her fingers all over my naked body. What am I to do? I feel like she's backing me into a corner, both physically and mentally. Alright, fine. You can help me back if you want, but don't do anything weird, alright? Define weird. You know, like touching me anywhere untoward, like anywhere other than my back or my scalp. You can help me clean me up if you really want, but you should leave the front to me. Revi might be a pushy girl, but I would prefer my privates to remain, well, privates. I don't want her lopping, and I definitely don't want her groping. What would Koichi, Kosuke, and Daigo say if they knew I got myself into yet another lewd situation? They'd never forgive me. In fact, they'd probably stone me to death. Ah, self-conscious, are we? Don't worry, Haru. I won't tease you. Too much, at least. A grinning Revi begins to strip off her clothes felt. Further premature. What am I to make of this? Isn't this going a bit too fast? Hey, wait. Just what do you think you're doing? Revi looks at me curiously. Getting undressed, of course. What else? Yes, I can see that. Then why didn't you ask? It seems a waste of breath. Really to ask me these questions when you already know the answers? Do all Earthies like wasting time as much as you do? I can neither confirm nor deny that, but why are you stripping off in front of me? Don't you think that's a bit inappropriate? No, not really. I have to strip off if I want to wash it back properly. I don't want my clothes to get wet. I get that logistically, but then stop complaining. But we barely know one another. We're not in any kind of relationship. You ought to feel a bit more embarrassed about taking off your clothes in front of me. Why? I'm not embarrassed at all when it comes to my body. I think it's quite appealing if I do say so myself. I tend to attract a lot of stares. I'm used to it, so you can stare too if you like. In fact, I'd be offended if you didn't. Staring is like one of the highest compliments you can pay a woman as a member of the opposite sex. I can think of quite a few women who disagree there. I sighed. If that was true, sexual harassment wouldn't be a thing. Oh, silly Haru, you worry too much. It's not sexual harassment if I'm asking you to look at me. I'm doing this of my own volition, so you really no reason to feel at all ashamed. You ought to enjoy my body as just I've been enjoying yours. It seems like a good way to bond. Anna might not like it. Though if she knew you were flirting with me, then Anna will be fine. I told her if I could help you wash your back, and she gave me her permission. She did? No way. No way, bro. Yep. Anna likes you a lot. She must to call you darling, but she likes me a lot too, remember? Anna and I are very good friends. It's only natural that she wants two people who are dear to her to get along. She'd be happy if you could learn more about my charms. And I'd be happy too if I could learn more about yours. I want us to become even closer. Getting closer is fine, but we don't have to do it while naked. Oh, you are sweet. Revi titters. You're acting just like a shy, blushing maiden. You're not at all like the men in the romance novels Anna likes to read. You've yet to pin me against the wall in order to play my mouth with your own. Well, of course I haven't, but I like how meek you are. It's very endearing. It makes me feel safe with you. I wish you stopped complaining, though. You make it sound like I'm going to ravage you. It kind of feels like it, to be honest. I sighed. But well, if you're going to be this insistent, then I suppose you can take your clothes off. Oh no. Why, thank you for giving me permission, Haru. Not that I needed it. This is my ship after all. You're hardly in a position to tell me what I could do and can't do. I know. I figured you wouldn't listen to me anyway, even if I tried. You're so stubborn. So you notice. It was hard not to. You'd be right on that score. I am a law unto myself. Nobody can boss me around, apart from my actual bosses that is over in the palace. Now let me get out of these pesky clothes. You, meanwhile, out to sit here. I'll be with you in a moment to ease all your aches and pains. You can count on me. I take a seat upon the stool, my eyes fixated firmly upon the walls opposite while trying to blot out the sound of Revi shimmy out of her clothes. I don't turn my head, no matter how tempting a proposition might be. I'm afraid if I were to see any naked skin, it'd be all over for me. I really don't want to get excited now. That'd be all kinds of awkward. I came here to relax, damn it, not to have my blood pressure spike straight through the roof. Alright, here we are. Now let me fetch some soap and a sponge too. I'll polish your back up good and proper, just like I do my beloved spaceship. I won't rest until I clean every inch of dirt from you. Wow, thanks. That's very considerate of you. I know, I really am wonderful hostess, aren't I? I might seem haphazard, but when I set my mind to something, I do it properly. I'm going to take very, very good care of you. As Enna's boy toy, you deserve as much. I'm really not Enna's. I begin to, but a dampened sensation against my spine soon makes me pause. Ah, folks. Well, here we are in the shower. Yo. Alright, let's go. Revi must have retrieved the sponge and soap as she promised. I can feel the softness of the sponge upon my back, mingled with damp, sticky sensation of what I could take to be liquid soap. My skin tingles at the intimate touch, but it doesn't take scald or burn. In fact, her ministrations feel quite nice. Ah. I sighed despite myself, leaned back against Revi's caress, surrendering myself to her deft fingers. She doesn't act very much like a maid, not normally at last, but her many years of service shine through in the careful, considerate way she treats me. She's really good at this. That's sure quieting you down. I thought you offer a few more token complaints at least before surrendering, but I guess not. The fight's all drained from you, Haru. Now you're like a clay in my fingers. You're so obedient, but I like that in a man too. It really is no wonder Enna's so fond of you. Revi keeps rubbing the sponge against my back and I sigh. My toes curl against the cool floor and I shift on my stool. My heart was beating anxiously when Revi began to take off her clothes, but now I feel strangely calm. Her cleaning is having such a soothing effect on me. Not even her impish prodding can unsettle me. I am well aware of Enna is fond of me. She makes that quite apparent. I'm glad of her affection, but she can be quite insistent about it. But just like you, in fact, is everybody from Cornwall this forward? We're less shy than humans when it comes to inhabiting our own bodies, yes. Unlike you, we're not ashamed of exposing a bit of bare flesh. Right, I see. I figure as much what with those skin-tight suits the Corbin favors, but it really seems like people from Enna and Revi's planet are less squeamish when it comes to intimacy than we Earthlings. That explains why Enna and I, and now Revi, are so aggressive in pursuing me. They must have seen their behavior as any unusual, not if this is what they're accustomed to. This is a bit of culture shock, but I can get used to it. Being fawned over by the two pretty girls isn't something worth crying about. Though Koichi, Kosuke, and Daigo might cry, Daigo in particular, if they could see this. Hey Revi, I was just wondering, you and Enna are really close, aren't you? Yeah, we are, yeah. Enna and I have known one another since we were little kids. We were more or less inseparable. I know she wanted to leave the palace, she told me enough times, but I didn't think she'd actually do it. When I realized that she really had left, I felt pretty, well, I didn't feel great about it. That must have hurt, yeah. But at least you were able to meet Enna again. Hasn't that cheered you up? Well, of course it has. I felt so happy when Enna contacted me. My heart could have leaped out of my mouth. Now I'm with her again. I feel like I can properly shine. I'm not more like myself in a long time. I'll admit, part of me was a little jealous when Enna told me she'd been staying with an Earthling boy whom she called her darling. I was afraid that Enna had replaced me. I was all set to dislike you, but well, Revi giggles. As you can see, that didn't quite come to pass. If I disliked you, I never would have made you that Sunday, and I wouldn't have been washing your back right now either. Well, I don't know about that. That Sunday could have been poison for all I know. I still don't think humans are supposed to eat antimatter, though it doesn't seem to have any negative consequences, and you could have been washing my back with all those creepy corrosive chemicals. You said those bottles might or might not contain. Your buddy act could all be a ruse designed to lure me into a false sense of security. Then when I'm suitably comfortable, you'll deal finishing the blow so I can stay with Enna for all of eternity. Now that's quite the scenario. Do you really think I'd do something like that, Wick? I don't know. I don't know you all that well, like I said, but I smiled. You're Anna's friend, so I'll trust you. I doubt you want to hurt me, not physically at least. My plan has taken a bit of battering, admitting, since you started walking at me while I was half naked, but there are worse things you could do to a guy. I'm pretty sure you mean well. You'll be right there. I was prepared to hate you, but I couldn't bring myself to do it. I could tell you were kind, thoughtful man the moment I first laid my eyes on you. It was no wonder Anna likes you, really. It's clear to me that you make her happy, and when Anna is happy, I'm happy. You've been good to her, so you deserve some sort of reward. Now, won't you let me service you to the highest degree as your hostess and as Anna's dear friend? I fall silent at this, my fingers coiled on my lap. I know exactly what Revi's suggesting. I'm not dense, but the problems in her words make me feel uneasy. Anna might be alright with this, but what about me? Do I want to get more intimately acquainted with Revi? I mean, I guess. I think about Revi's propositions for a while then. Alright, if you want to get more intimately acquainted with me, I make quotation marks with my fingers. That you can. I'm not going to stop you. It'd be rude to turn you down at this point. You are pretty attractive. Why, thank you. I'm glad you think so. Now, why don't we enjoy ourselves? I can't wait to get started. Oh boy. Alright, so we had a good time doing that bath time together. That was pretty much the intimacy that we had. Anyways, my slightly awkward bath time with Revi concluded. I finished drying myself up, then changed back into my sweater and pants. I find the sleeping quarters of Revi's ship with ease, it being only a stone to throw away from the bathroom. The sleeping quarters have sleek, white walls and a sleek white floor, much like the rest of Revi's ship. It's so white, in fact, it's almost blinding. At least the decor is consistent, if nothing else. For such a chaotic girl, Revi's tastes in interior design are surprisingly uniform. The sleeping quarters are fairly small, with only one bed to speak of. The bed is rather large, though, and plush, and neither is it unoccupied. Anna is there, kneeling on the bed, in an elegant manner that would put a geisha to shame. Unlike a geisha, however, Anna isn't wearing an elaborate, intricate kimono, but her skin-tight bodysuit, which leaves to the imagination. She smiles at me gently, then says, "Did you have a good bath?" "No, better than usual, I guess." I glanced away abashed and scratched my cheek with my finger. All of a sudden, I feel horribly guilty about what occurred between Revi and I. Not that I instigated any of it. Revi's the one who caved onto me. I did try to resist, but she was so pushy, it seemed easier to capitulate. I wonder what Anna would say if she knew about our dalliances. Does she know about our dalliances? Revi did say she had Anna's permission to sneak into the bathroom after me, but I wondered, "Hey Anna, did you tell Revi she could come and lend me a hand while I was washing up?" "Oh yes, I did indeed. Revi was getting bored, so you see, we've been flying through a rather barren stretch of the space for a while, and there was nothing to occupy her. We played cards for a while, but that wasn't enough to capture Revi's attention. She asked after you, and I said you had gone to clean up. She was worried that you wouldn't know how the facilities in her ship work, or how to read the labels on her toiletries, so she asked if she could check on you. Well, that was what she said, but I think it was an excuse. In actuality, she wanted to spend more time with you. She's quite taken with you. I'm not entirely sure about that. If she really was taken with me, I don't know if she teased me quite as much as she was. Oh dear, was Revi making a nuisance of herself? She was poking fun at me. A little, yeah. I guess I appreciate her help, but she didn't need to strip off like that. She could have given me some warning first. But darling, why should that be a shock? Of course, she would strip off while in the bathroom. It isn't possible to clean oneself if one is still wearing clothes. I guess you have a point, but it seems kind of shameless. I sighed. I've not known Revi a full day yet. We're not at the stage where we should be getting naked around one another. Doesn't it upset you? No, not really. Shouldn't? I thought it might. You're always calling me darling and asking about our impending wedding, which is not going to happen anytime soon, by the way. I was worried you might be jealous, so you were concerned about my feelings. Anna smiled sweetly. I am flattered you are so considerate, darling, but you really needed to fuss. You should know by this point I am not the type to get jealous, particularly not off my friends. I have known Revi since I was young, and I know that she would never do anything to hurt me. If she is interested in you, it is only because I care for you so very much. She wants to test you, I think, to see whether you are worthy of my attention. And to do that, she had to get naked and wash my back? Yes, she was being very, very thorough in her examination. That is simply how Revi is. She has always watched out for me. I don't mind it at all. I would not be jealous even if she fall in love with you. Instead, I would recommend her for her keen eye. You are most deserving of affection. It would be wonderful if my best friend could see the charms of the human man I have pledged my heart to, but let's not talk of such matters now. You must be tired. Anna pats her lap invitingly. Would you care to rest your weary head, darling? Revi might have cleaned the sweat from your body, but I would like the privilege of easing your anxious thoughts. If you rested your head here, it would make me very happy. I think it'd be more likely to give you a cramp, but I smiled. If you insist, I suppose I could take you up on it. I sit up on the bed, the mattress sinking beneath me. Man, it really is plush, and settling down upon Anna's thighs. Man, this should have been me, not him. This is not fair. Oh my gosh, this is something that every guy wish. Resting their head on their girlfriend's thighs, or wife's thighs. Anna's thighs might not be as soft as a pillow, but they're warmer, and in a sense, they might be even more comfortable. I shuffle about getting comfy while Anna giggles. That tickles, darling. Your hair is brushing against my skin. Oh, I'm sorry? It's alright. I don't mind. I like being this close to you. It's cozy. Anna leans over me, her tresses brushing against my cheeks. Then she rests her palms upon my crown. Slowly she begins to run her fingers through my short, choppy hair, her nails brushing against my scalp. Then the heat of Anna's body soothes me, more than a blanket would. It's relaxing. I didn't realize how tired I was until I laid down my head. All of a sudden I feel exhausted. A yawn escapes from my mouth, which seems to last a small eternity. It forces my eyes shut, and tears begin to beat in my eyelashes. I shift against nuzzling my head against Anna's plain thighs while she laughs. There. Rest easy now, darling. I know you've known a lot on your mind, but you need to worry about any of it. Now when you're with me, I'll take very good care of you. Anna continues to run her fingers through my hair in a manner similar to the way she petted that cat early this morning. Was that this morning? Feels like that scent had happened a long time ago in a galaxy far away. But I suppose that latter point is true. I really am in a different galaxy thanks to Revi's ship. How far have we traveled? How far away is the Earth? Up until this morning, I'd never been beyond Japan's borders. Now I've exited Earth altogether. The toughest is an alarming one, but the softness of Anna's thighs coupled with her soothing voice helps me forget all that. My consciousness is beginning to fade. I'd like to talk to Anna about our plans to reunite with Yuri, but I'm too tired. I feel just about ready to pass out. Sweet dreams, darling. When you wake up, we should probably be at Myra. Then we can see Hiyori again. We can decide what we'll do later. But until then, you should put all your concerns behind you. Anna bows her head, her hair brushing against my cheeks, and pursed her lips. I'm struggling to keep my eyes open at this point, and my vision is blurred. I'm half unconscious already, but I can still feel the softness of Anna's lips against my cheek. She must have kissed me. I'll watch over you. You'll be safe when you're with me. I promise. I yawn against a fresh tears prickling in the corner of my eyes. My eyelids, which are now too heavy to keep open, fall shut, and I fall fast asleep. I don't know how long I sleep, but when I wake up, I feel refreshed and well rested. Anna helps me to my feet, smiling as she does so, and pats down my hair. How do you feel, darling? I hope my lap made for a comfortable pillow. I'm pretty good, thanks. Your thighs must have restorative powers. They're even softer than memory foam. Why, thank you. Coming from you, that is very flattering. Now, shall we return to the ship's hull? I believe we should be at our destination soon, though I should probably have Revi announce that. She would be disappointed if I were to borrow a phrase you Earthlings sometimes use, steal her thunder. Anna giggles and pleads at her successful use in one of our Earthling idioms. Anna struggled with idioms since we arrived on Earth. I think her ability to use them now is a good sign. It shows she's settling in. It's strange, therefore, that we should be leaving Earth so soon after she's begun to grow accustomed to its culture, but we won't. I tell myself, being Myra too long, at the very least, I hope we're not. While I'm as eager as any man who dreamed about space in childhood to check out a genuine, bona fide alien planet, Hiyori's happiness is my top priority. I'd like to return her home ASAP. I'm not in the mood for sightseeing. Right, let's go then. I head to the hull of space of the ships alongside Anna, where we soon find Revi. She grins when she sees me and says with sparkling eyes, "Hey Anna." "Hey there, Anna's boy toy. I got some good news for the pair of you. We'll be at Myra in approximately..." Revi checks one of the flashy screens fitted into the wall of her spaceship. 30 Earthling minutes. Only 30 minutes? That's exceedingly impressive. I knew I was right to trust you, Revi. You never once let me down. Well, thank you. Well, thanks. I do my best. So Haru, you see that planet over yonder, the purple one that is covered with swirling gas clouds? That's Myra. I see. I follow the direction of Revi's pointing finger that let my eye lingers upon the planet before me transfixed. Myra is close enough that I can make out the swirling mist which covered it. I've not seen any planet like it before in the Milky Way. It's utterly unique, incomparable to Venus, Mars, and all the rest. So this is Myra. This is the planet Revi was born on, and the place she's now calling home. It makes quite the impression even seen from a distance. I wonder what it'll look like from closer quarters. If I was on my own, I'd probably be anxious at the prospect of landing on an alien planet, but fortunately I have allies. I should be alright. So as long as I'm with Anna and Revi, speaking of which, will you be coming to the palace with us, Revi? Who, me? Oh no, I've been working in Corval's royal palaces. I was like this high. When you see one, you've seen them all. I'm sick of the opulence, and in any case, I'm so not the sort of gal you want to speaking to the wealthy and the important. Stella always told me I had no respect. You say that, but you talk to Anna all the time. Anna's different. She might be a princess, but she's super approachable. She's my friend. I don't know all about the novels and the advisors that'll be swarming around Myra's palace, though. If Yuri's a friend of yours, I bet she'll be fine, but I doubt I could say anything worthwhile to her. We're strangers. She has no idea who I am. There's no way I'd be able to persuade her to come back to Earth. If anything, I just get in the way of your tearful reunion. I'd hate to ruin things. I guess you have a point. I always do. Where will you stay on Myra, though? In your ship? Of course it'll be better furnished than any hotel. It'll be just fine waiting here. You and Anna can come and find me on my ship once you finish your negotiations with Hiyori and you're ready to leave the planet. Somebody's got to keep an eye on this baby to ensure she doesn't get stolen. I bet Juggers would have turned her into scrap metal in an instant without me around to defend her honor. These are good points, but I don't know how long Anna and I will be staying on Myra. I hate to make you wait for days for us to come back, or weeks. What if you're alone? What if you're lonely on your own? Oh, Haru, you're such a sweetie. Revi giggles. I'm glad you care about me so much, but like I said, there's no need for you to fuss. There's no way I'll be lonely, not when I'm with my ship. I might pick up a few extra parts in Myra's market and see if I can fix her up even more. That should keep me occupied. I'd rather do that than hang around yet another boring, stuffy old palace. Well, if you're sure, I'm sure. You and Anna should enjoy your jaunt on Myra without me. Don't let me cramp your style, you two lovebirds. Ha. Alright. Whoa. Bro, what is this? This city. So this is Myra, huh? Look, it's just so futuristic. Well, it's kind of like like close to like present time and futuristic. Man, it's with wide eyes that I look around my surroundings, desperate to drink them in. Look at this city, dude. Like, this is so like, it's like a mixture of like futuristic, a little bit of like, you know, the 90s, 70s, and all that, like everything all together. This is awesome. I feel like I did when I first moved from the countryside to Tokyo, but the culture shock I'm experiencing is even more intense than that. At least when I relocated to Tokyo, I was still among fellow Japanese people. Tokyo felt like another planet, but it was still part of Japan. Myra, meanwhile, is totally different. It looks like Tokyo, I suppose, given it has a lot of buildings, but they're nothing like the gray skyscrapers I'm accustomed to. The geometry of the buildings which are surrounding me are unfamiliar. The buildings are all illuminated with gaudy neon signs. I can't understand any of the pictographic characters which decorate the signage on the streets, and the hovering vehicles which pass me by on the road are sleek and shiny like beetles. The sky, meanwhile, is a strange color I'm not accustomed to. It's pale purple, and I can see large circular bodies, other planets, I think, looming in the horizon. I feel like I've stepped into a science fiction movie. I wouldn't blink if I saw a skyscape like this on the silver screen, but that's only because I assume it had been crafted with CGI. Myra doesn't look real. It shouldn't be real. My halting mundane mind is having trouble getting to grip, first of all, with it all. But there's no denying that this is reality. My imagination isn't good enough to conjure up a detailed scene like this. Geez, I come from a pretty poor family and my parents never had the money to fly me away on vacation to Europe or America. There's a lot about Earth I'm ignorant of, despite watching a lot of documentaries. I always figured the first place I go when I accrued enough capital would be the States to further my research into the stars. But I never, not in a million years, thought I'd end up visiting an alien planet in a whole other galaxy. This is crazy. This place sure is built up, and there's a lot of people too. Though Myra's architecture is unusual, the people in the crowd look largely humanoid, for the most part at least. Most of the people I see look like myself with 2 arms, 2 legs, and a head. Their clothes are certainly unusual, but they're not so strange. They wouldn't look out of place in a avant-garde fashion show. There's a lot of skin-tight bodysuits like Anna's highly patterned and fabrics and golden jewelry. A few people have bionic limbs, and one woman who passes has 4 arms, but I've not seen any green-skinned Martians. I do see a few blue-skinned people, however, and a couple of bipedal wolf-like creatures with animal ears and fur, but that's besides the point. I'm glad the majority of the people thronging Myra's streets look akin to myself, but this fleeting familiarity doesn't quite assuage of all my unease. I can't shake the feeling that I'm an outsider here. Hey Anna, you said you've been to Myra before, didn't you? Oh yes, that's right. My parents took me here a few times to visit the royal family. As a fellow royals, my parents were often in discussions with the novelty of her nearby planets in the galaxy. I'm well acquainted with the palace, although Anna ponders while tapping her index finger against her lower lip. Now that I think about it, I was never afforded the chance to explore the city. No? Anna shakes her head. My parents were very strict, you see. They worried for my safety, which is fair enough, I suppose, given my status as a royal. Whenever we visit our other parents, they would have attendants observe me who monitored my every move. I always had to stay indoors so I couldn't make a scene. On the rare occasions I was allowed to explore outdoors, I was chaperoned. I hadn't had a chance to explore. The Myra's capital is a new sight for me too. I feel just like a tourist. I'd always wanted to explore this place. I've already heard there are meant to be a lot of bounty quids that carry interesting clothes, and there's a lot of wonderful restaurants too. Myra has so much culture. How does this place compare to Corvo? That isn't anything like Myra? Oh no, not at all. Corvo, as I believe I have told you, is mostly desert. We have cities too, but they're not like this. The buildings aren't half so high, and the streets aren't paved. They're covered with sand instead. It's hard to build when resources are so scarce and the land is so arid. and everybody is so tired. Horror was quite depressing, really. But let's not dwell on that. We are in Myra now, and we did not come here to explore many sites. Interesting though, maybe. I think it imperative that we find our ways to the royal palace, and we can speak with Hiyori. What do you think? That's a great idea. Do you know how far the palace is? The palace is located in the city outskirts. I believe it is so far, very far away. I remember when I was a young girl, I would often look out the window of my guest bedroom in Myra's palace and stare out at this very city. I can see its lights twinkling in the distance, and it's all neon signs. Gazing upon it filled my heart with such excitement, though of course I prefer Tokyo. Japanese culture really can't be beaten. Walking to the palace on foot night might be possible, but I think we should be able to flag it down the transportation pod. They should get us to our destination soon enough. Revi even gave me some Myra points so we can pay our way. Wasn't that nice of her? I guess that was pretty thoughtful, yeah. I wouldn't want to get arrested on the alien planet for being incapable of paying my transportation pod fare. Shall we go then? Yes, let's. There's nobody hanging about here. No matter how enticing all these sights may be, Hiyori is our first priority. I wonder what expression she will make when she sees us. That will be worth more than amount of Myra coins. I cannot wait to see her again. Oh dear. And it flags down the transportation pod from along the sky, from along the ranks of the fleet. Sleek, shiny vehicles which are floating through the city, and a pair of us clamber inside of it. These pods, unlike the taxis you expect to find in Tokyo, are unmanned. Rather than assume a board or worse, overly attentive driver instructions, and instead taps in our desired destination in a control panel at the front of the pod. That taken care of, the two of us then sit back in the pod's cramped interior as it whisks us to our destination. The pod glides through the city, hovering above the roads. It must be built with state-of-the-art technology because it knows when to slow down, when to stop, and when to turn all on its own. Myra's public transportation network, I soon knows, is quite congested. The pod often has to halt mid-air amidst numerous other pods while the city's bright lights flicker around us. It's all pretty overwhelming. I really do feel like I've stepped into a science fiction movie. I wouldn't be at all surprised if I ran into an orange-haired woman attired in white called Lilu. The city seems perfect setting for such an encounter. It takes a while, but eventually the transportation pod comes to a halt. It looks like we've arrived. That was quite the journey, wasn't it? Corvo had similar transportation system, but these pods aren't unfamiliar to me, but I've never ridden one before. My mother and father always had me accompany them in their spaceship. On rare occasions, I was allowed to travel. Today has been full of firsts for me. I think I prefer the trains in Tokyo though. These pods might be fast, but they're awfully cramped. Same here. I'm not at all tall, but I had to fold my legs up like a concertina, to fit myself inside the pod's cramped confines. I clamber out of the pod shakily with Anna's help and glances about it. Myra's royal palace is located quite a distance away from the city. I can see in the distance all tall buildings and flashing lights, but this particular part of Myra has a more relaxing vibe. The palace grounds are dotted literally with trees and flowers, and grass flutters about my ankles. The vegetation is wholly identical to the floor on Earth, but they bear enough similarities for me to identify them as trees, flowers, and grass. Everything is tingled in unnatural shades, either purple or blue, and the trunk of the trees seem to throb as though they have their own heartbeats. It's a bit unnerving, but all of this is greenery, you know. Or should I say purpley? It's quite refreshing. As for the palace itself, meanwhile, wow, it's an impressive structure, all right. So much so that when I face it, I find myself stuck for words. The architecture of the palace is less futuristic, for want of a better word, than my brief sojourn in Myra City left me to expect. There's something charmingly rustic about the palace, friend as it is on all sides by nature. It wouldn't look wholly out of place on Earth, though not perhaps in Japan. It looks rather European, in fact. I wish I had a camera on me so I could take a few photos, or even my phone, but Would my phone even work in Myra? That seems somewhat doubtful. In any event, now hardly is the time to stand out. Gawping. Man, Hiyori must be inside that building. She doesn't know that Anna and I are here, but she will soon enough, or if we're able to secure an audience with her, my desire to see Hiyori swells up inside me like a balloon. I miss her so badly it feels like a physical ache. I just want to know that she's alright. Shall we go? Yes, let's. If we are to run into any palace guards, we should in due course I can speak to them on your behalf. My status as a princess should ensure that we don't get imprisoned, and at the very least for our audacity in coming here. I only hope we're able to speak to Hiyori. You and me both being turned away would be awful after we've come all this way. I'm sure that will not come to pass. We'll be fine. You just need to be more confident. It's with the announcement that Anna steps forth. I follow along behind her, trying to swallow my anxiety. The sound of gently running water helps ease some of my concerns, as though the twittering of birdsong and the strange trees about us. Alien's planet or no, Myra is very beautiful. I wonder if it boasts even more forest areas like this, away from the noise of the city. If so, I imagine it must be quite the popular tourist destination for the citizens of Anka Galaxy. Myra looked a lot nicer than Anna's description of Corvo. At least she told me on several occasions that Corvo is a desert planet, all dry in arid sand and blazing heat. Myra's climate doesn't seem too dissimilar from Earth's, though it is a little humid. My sweater is starting to stick uncomfortably to my skin. I have half a mind to take it off, when my attention is captured by a woman standing outside the royal palace. She's wearing a skin-tight bodysuit similar to Anna's, but hers is comprised of dark colors. Her hair too is dark, and her expression is stern, giving her austere countenance. I would presume she's a palace guard. She exudes an imposing aura like that of a sharp-toothed predator, but something about her makes me pause. I think I recognize her. I'm accustomed to seeing her in a turtleneck sweater and a high-waisted skirt, but she's immediately identifiable even without them, owing to the hairstyles of hers. Wait a minute, could it be that teacher, that professor that we had back in the second version of this game? Could that be Professor Sakai? My goodness, it literally is her. Oh. The woman catches my gaze. She blinks. Then after a pause she says, Mr. Takagi, Miss Anna, I did not expect to see you here. So it is Professor Sakai. After all, I know my eyes hadn't deceived me. I called her Professor Sakai, but that name is probably not the best way to address her. Professor Sakai is, as I discovered, presumably, this woman's real name is Alo, and she's no university professor. She's actually an alien from Myra, who knew Hiyori when she was a child. This world really is full of surprises. I should have expected that I see her again, though it is a bit awkward. She did proposition to me back when she was still proposing as a professor, and I gave in to her advances. I mean, how could I not? She really is attractive. Hey, it's good to see you again. Do you think so? I hope you're not saying that simply to consider it. I know you, though, Mr. Taki, I would not at all be surprised if that is the case. You have always been a gentleman. My darling's been a very nice person, yes. He always puts other feelings before his own. That's why we came here, in fact. It's because we're worried about Hiyori. I suppose that does make sense. The pair of you were good friends with Her Highness when she still resided upon Earth. Do you wish to speak to her? We can? Well, of those brown furrows, under normal circumstances, I would have to send you away. What? While you may be the princess' friends, you ought to be scheduled an appointment to see her like anybody else. The princess is very busy. She cannot afford to speak to anybody willy-nilly. That is what I ought to say, at least, but I have been worried about the princess' well-being these last few weeks. Though she reassures me she is fine, I find myself unable to believe her. I have tried to console her as best I can, but there's only so much I can do. I am not too close to her. I fear as you are, Mr. Takagi and Miss Anna, perhaps speaking with you would cheer her up. I know I ought to do this, but I'm only hales in size. You may see the princess. I shall grant you permission. What, really? Indeed. Do not look so shocked when you petition me for this chance yourself. She is free now. As a matter of fact, her previous meeting concluded early, so you may speak to her this very instant. I will guide you to her throne room, so please look lively. Before that, however... What the... I barely had the time to register Lowe's words when, quick a flash, my former professor bridges the "this is between us" and pressed a kiss to my cheek. Ex-professor, huh? It's a quick, fleeting kind of which lasts only a few seconds, but it makes me blush regardless. Also, Lowe's lips are warm against my cheeks, and the scent of her floral perfume wafts me over. I can feel Lowe's chest pressing against my arm, and her fingers curling against the front of my sweater. It's a very sweet chest gesture, the sort of a young girl might bestow her upon her crush. I think that Lowe's affection for me is really cute. Aloy might be older than I am, but as far as mature women go, she's adorable. Mr. Takagi, Aloy draws back from me and smiles, her face flush. I'm glad that you came here, not solely for your highness' sake, but for your own too. I do not know why exactly I feel as though I do, but I miss you upon my return to Myra. Embarrassing though it is, I confess that upon seeing you again, my heart skipped a beat. You are a very precious person to me indeed, and our reunion has brought me a good deal of happiness. I only hope it could do the same for Her Highness. I know that she too has missed you, but how could she not? You are a real gentleman. Oh boy, we're here. With Aloy as our guide, Anna and I led into the depths of Myra's palace. The building, as it soon transpires, is huge, even larger on the inside, where it appears than the out. The ceilings are high and supported with columns, and floors are made of hard stone blocks which amplify the sounds of our footsteps. The throne itself is meanwhile vast enough to be cavernous, with highly decorated walls. A plush, imposing looking throne stands upon a dais at the furthest end of the room, and the wall behind is comprised of glass panels, clear and translucent, so the lyric sunlight filters into the room. This sunlight illuminates the rich mosaic upon the floor and the ornate golden curlics of all the columns. Oh. And of course it lights up the face of the woman who sits upon the throne. She's attired in a skin-tight bodysuit, much like Aloy's and Anna, but I recognize her in an instant. How could I not, when she's one of my dearest friends? It's none other than Hiyori. My goodness! Hiyori stares at Anna and I, dumbstruck. Slowly she rises to her feet and, crossing the spacious throne, the room says, "Are you truly Anna Haru?" "Yes, of course. We are. Who else would we be?" "That's such a funny question, Hiyori." Yo, she finally noticed. Let's go. Hiyori looks between Anna and I, blinking, then with a relieved cry, "Oh, it's so good to see you. I miss you." Oh man, she finally sees us again, and she got a lot of cake. Sorry, I had to with that stuff, guys. You already know what I was gonna do. Hiyori throws herself at both of us. Ah! Hiyori embraces us. Tightly, her choppy hair shifts about her jaw. She winds up about one arm about me, while the other snakes about Anna. Happily, she cries. "Really, I really can feel you. You're not holograms at all. This could be a dream. It feels too real. You really did come for me." "Yes, we did. We miss you too, Hiyori. We really did. My darling and I were thinking about you every single day." We desperately wanted to see how you were doing. We simply could not stand idle and do nothing. It's good to see you again, Hiyori. I hope you've been alright. I've been alright as I can be, I suppose, given all the duties I've got to attend to, but oh! Where are my manners? As a princess, I probably shouldn't go hurling myself at my guests whenever I please. You must think very poorly of me, although I've forgotten all of those adequate lessons you drilled into my head. That is quite alright, Your Highness. Were these dignitaries from other planets, I would naturally be appalled if you choose to greet them thus. But Mr. Takagi and Miss Enna are not strangers. They are your dear friends. You don't need to be overly self-conscious around them. Please be yourself. There is no shame in embracing one of Owen's companions. Oh, I'm glad to hear it. I hate to be scolded. Now, I'll try to keep my hands to myself. For the present, I shouldn't be clinging to you like a little girl. Not in the throne room, but wow. You will have to tell me everything about your journey. How did you get here, and how long did it take? I hope you didn't go out for your way for my sake. What about your university course, Haru? And what about your job, Enna? Surely you can't leave those behind. I had to take a day off, yeah, to get here, but I don't think I've missed out on anything at all important. I can catch up later. See you was important than attending a few lectures. I feel much the same. Your happiness is more important to me than baking the bread. As for now, precisely, we got here, well, that is a bit of a long story. I will try to abridge it. Anna tells Hiyori and Lo how she and I were able to come here. After enlisting the help of Hiyori's friend Revi, Hiyori nods at intervals throughout this tale, one hand beneath her chin, then smiles when it reaches its conclusion. I see, then I suppose you will have to thank Miss Revi on my behalf for bringing you here. I really am glad to see you. Of course, I'll let you stay in the palace for as long as you wish, but I'm afraid I won't be able to spend much time with you. I've a lot of important and political meetings to attend. I have a meeting coming up soon, in fact, which I can't miss. This should have been a no-brainer, really, but I didn't realize, like, you know, being a princess would be so difficult. I've hardly had any free time lately. It's pretty stressful, but Hiyori forces a smile. I can't complain, this is the path I chose myself, after all. Indeed you have. I simply have to learn to endure it. Enduring isn't the same as enjoying something, though. Are you sure you're alright here, Hiyori? If you want, you can return to Earth with Anna and I. Revi's waiting for us in her spaceship, and there's room enough for you. I bet your Earthling's parents are missing you a lot, and you haven't skipped out on too much of your course at university. You'll have some catching up to do, but you should be able to pass your second year. We can keep attending the astronomy club together like we always did, and we can look at the stars every night. Would you prefer that over governing Myra on your own? I'm sorry, Haru. Hiyori's expectation softens. I'm flattered you feel that way, but I can't think about my own personal preferences anymore. Now that I'm a princess, I'd like to return to Earth with you, but I have too many responsibilities to tend to. I'm not going to run away from them, but there will be no buts. I know you mean well, Haru, and I'm sorry, but if you thought I would return to Earth with you in a heartbeat, you were mistaken. There are some things I can't do, no matter how much I like to do them. But please don't take this as a personal affront. It isn't that I don't want to go back with you. I can't. There's no point in discussing it further. It'll just make me feel sad, and I don't want that. Not when we finally been reunited. We should try to talk about happier things. Hiyori smiles. Well, that is indeed true, though. Happier things do come through with happy ending. But anyways, that is the end of today's video, everyone. Thank you guys for watching this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Check out my Discord server and social media below down in the description. And I am out.